Good morning, y'all. I am Keith Dykes with W.K.D Construction, and today we are at the Melton Farm Project, and we are going to get started on framing. A little chilly today. Kind of overcast. Said it's going to be sunny, but I don't think the sun's going to come out. But first thing to get started is we're going to try to square, or not going to try, we are going to square everything up. We're going to get our exterior lines popped, interior walls popped. We'll use some permanent chalk because it is supposed to rain, so we'll try to go ahead, get all of our lines ready to go. Got lumber from Paris Building Supply out of course, Paris, Tennessee, and they're hopefully going to deliver today. So we'll get it all staged up and ready to start throwing up some wood, man. I'm ready. As you see, we had the storm room poured. And if you have not seen that video, I'll go ahead and put a link up here and you can see how we formed and poured a storm room for Miss Susan. We are lining this thing out, figuring out where the back wall goes first. So I took my laser, set it up, and we ran a straight line all the way from there to there. Found that, and then I measured off of this line, which is right here. I got that, which then I can measure off to make sure that this wall and this wall is running in line with each other, which it is. So now I'm going to go to the front wall. We'll chalk a line and get we need a set of parallel lines that run from end to end. Then we can find a point. I've got an app on my phone that will give me a diagonal, so I can measure this, the width times the length, and it will give me a diagonal, and I can measure diagonally, and we can find each corner. It's pretty easy, but that's all you start with is two parallel straight runs, and then you can get a 90-degree angle and you'll be square. The sun finally came out. Yes, sir. Warmed it up just a little bit, man. It feels good too. But we have all of the lines popped and ready to go, and I'll have Miss Susan come by probably in the morning and check over everything, make sure we don't need to move anything before we start staining walls, and if we need to move a door, or whatever, just kind of go over it and make sure everybody's on the same page, because it's a lot easier to do it before we start staining walls instead of after the fact. And I didn't get into any detail on, as you see, I didn't put any of the measuring and stuff on the video. I don't know, it's kind of boring, but I'll kind of explain how we come up and find the squareness and using the app. So you can see we've got the outline chalked there. You can kind of faintly see the rest of them, but so then we've got this other line here, and this wall, of course, that wall, they run parallel together. So once you find that, you keep everything parallel. You come over to pick a corner. Doesn't really matter which corner you got. I chose this back one. I measured in 6 inches to here because I want my 5.5-inch wall, then my zip wall to be flush with the outside of the block, and then we can flash everything. So once I found that point, I measured in 6, went down there, measured 6 in, then I measured from this chalk line. So that measurement from that point to that point was 51 foot 1/8 inch, and the measurement from this line to the other line down there is 31 feet and 1/8 of an inch. And after we have those measurements, I get my old phone out, get the Construction Master Pro app, and we figure rise and run. We've got 51 feet 1/8 of an inch rise, 31 feet 1/8 inch run, diagonal, 59 feet 8 3/8. So now that we have this point is set, that point is set, we know it's 51 feet and 1/8 inch. We go to this corner, take the tape measure, go to that corner, find 58 feet 8 3/8 and mark it right onto the chalk line. So now once we have that corner, we know that corner, we've got this corner and that corner set, and all we have to do now is measure 51 feet and 1/8 inch to that corner, and we are perfectly square. And then you come back, and of course you'll check from that corner to that corner, and if those 58 8 3/8 match, then you're perfectly square. Yes sir, easy as that, coach. Morning everybody, it is beautiful, the sun is out, and we ready to start standing some walls today. One of the first things we do is to crown our studs. So crowning your stud is basically you take a stud, you look down it, you see which way the natural bow is, and then Brent will take and mark a little crow's foot on there. And we know that when we stand our wall, every stud will be crowned the same exact way, because if you don't, then your wall it'll kind of wave down through there. Steve's kind of got some of the bottom and the plates laid out, just kind of sitting there what we need. But when we start framing, I usually pick two corners. I will pick the front corner, we'll start on that corner. I'll pull layout off that one on every single wall, and then we'll start on that corner, and then I'll pull layout this way. So once you look through the house, all the studs line up on top, you know, they just line up with each other. And it's easier down the road too when you start trimming and stuff and you need to find studs. Once you find one wall, every wall then falls in place because everything's on the same layout. Works easier. And something that I like to do as well, we got treated plates since we're on concrete, and a treated plate is usually always wider than your standard framing. So we'll rip it. We rip it down the same thickness. That way when you stand your walls and later on you go to do your drywall, you won't have that offset, you know, on the inside or outside, whatever you want to do. That way your treated plate is not sticking out further than your standard framing. So that's just something I do. And as they crown the studs, we will cull whatever is twisted or really crowned. We'll just cull them, throw them aside, and then we can use them as blocking or on top of headers or whatever we need to. But we definitely do cull the bad ones. Y'all check this out. Steve had this. I've never seen one. It's a stud layout tool. Like I said, I've been in construction a long time. I've never seen one, so that is pretty cool. This is on 16 and this is on 2 foot. Middle one's 2 foot and those are on 16. So you find out your first layout and just start going. That's awesome. I have the top and bottom plate laid out. We're gonna have a window in the front, and my holes are drilled. Now I just use the wedge type anchors. These are Simpson strong tie anchors. Are 4 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch. That is not code in my area to have to use a J type anchor bolt, so I use the wedge bolts. That way we don't have to worry about the concrete guy finishing around all of the J bolts. It makes it easier on the concrete guy and kind of does a better finish, so you're not having to fool with all the around, you know, because it kind of builds up around the bolt a little bit when you're trying to finish it. So we're just using wedge anchors here. So Steve and Brent are building our headers, and we're just doing a box type header. which is hollow in the middle. That way we're going to foam the house. That way they can come back when they foam it and they'll drill holes, and they will spray foam inside the header to insulate the header as well. We took and ripped our 2x10s, ripped them down 9 inches. That way we have a consistent width header. Instead of some of your 2x10s will be 9 1/4, some will be 9 1/8, some drop down to 9. So we keep them at 9 inches, top and bottom plate, and we have a consistent square header. Studs out, we will crown up. That way when we lift the wall up, the crown will be to the outside of the wall. A little easier to hide than having it on the inside.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
We're gonna stay in the first wall in Miss Susan's house. Show you the Adjustomatic 500s in action. You can buy these, but I just made my own just out of some 1-inch square tubing and some left-hand right-hand threads, left-hand right-hand nuts, and welded them on. But man, these save time. Let me show you. There you go, Brent. So get that, you can see it's off. Do a little twisty. The other way. There you go. Money. Easy as that. And we'll get to the Adjustomatic 500s. Dude, those things are the cat's pecker. Those things are awesome. I hadn't used regular wood. I have not used regular wood bracing in a long time. I made those. You could buy them, but I was like, man, they were kind of pricey. So I went to my local metal supplier, got me some 1-inch square tubing, some left-handed thread, right-hand thread, left-hand nuts, right-hand nuts, and some flat plate, and made my own. Man, I probably had like 15 bucks a piece in those, and they retail probably, I think, about $80 to $90 a piece. So they are well worth it, because man, we can brace this off, brace that wall when we string it. If we need to fine tune it at any point, we just go over there and just turn it a few times, and we are on the money. We are ready to go. I love them. It's the only way to go. No wood bracing. Hell no. Get out of the wood bracing. We may use them just very rarely as far as wood bracing. Most of the 99% of the time I'm using these metal braces. It's a game changer, man. All right, we are back at it, Miss Susan's framing, and we had rain all day yesterday, so we got everything squeegeed off and started. But right here I had my pipes, you know, they were that tall, so we cut them off. We drilled holes, because I ain't gonna notch the bottom plate. We'll use a hole saw. We'll lift it up over the pipe, set it back down on top. That way we have a nice fit like right here, and then we'll come back later and use a bell or a coupling, and we can finish our vent. Well, we have several of the walls framed up here at Miss Susan's house, and this is going to be her bedroom. This will be the bathroom, and then her master closet. We'll go in through here, give you a little sneak peek. But all of my intersections where my walls meet walls, my connections, I always only screw it. I only use screws at the connections. That way, once I put the zip wall on and we need to adjust it, we can adjust it. Just take a screw out and we're not spending 42 minutes with a cat paw digging out damn nails. And my corners I frame in a, hope I don't know snot hanging out there. It's kind of cool today. But I do a California type corner. That way, because we're gonna foam it, that way when we foam it, I get all this cavity sprayed, and then this cavity can wrap around, and this whole area doesn't have, we don't have any air leakage at all. It's all insulated back, you know, at least 4 inches around the corner. So that's very, very good on keeping that air loss down. Because if you use a standard corner, which I did for years before I started foaming, I mean, there's just, it's just a potential for air loss, even though we'll come back and caulk everything on the inside around the plates and everything, but you still have that potential for air loss. So I went with the California corner, and I like it a lot better. And if you noticed, when I sand my walls, I'm not using a like a foam gasket underneath it. I don't like it. It's kind of a pain in the, it's kind of a pain in the ass to fool with, because it can wrinkle up, and even though you caulk it and everything, I'm not really fond of it. So I'll show you the little detail once we get right before we start installing all the zip wall. I will get some Huber liquid flash, the zip liquid flash, and I'll come back, we'll seal all this up, get up onto the plate, come down, and then over the top of the block there just a little bit, and then we will put the zip wall on, and then I will liquid flash it again. So that will definitely seal all of the air penetration that's going to come underneath that plate. And then once we drywall, or before we drywall, I'm sorry, after the spray foam guy, he'll come back and he will seal on the inside of the bottom plate everywhere as well. So I mean, it's like it's double protected, and you don't have to fool with the foam. I just don't care for it. So I have used it in the past, but like I said, just not a fan of it. Like house wrap sucks balls, man. I cannot stand house wrap. I've been using zip for, I don't know, man, 15 years or something. Dude, once I started using that, house wrap was out like high button shoes, man. I ain't having it. Hell no, no house wrap. It is the devil. The original cordless, baby. Shoot. There we have it. All the exterior walls in the living quarters part of the Melton Farm Project are standing. Everything is braced off pretty decent. We still have to do all the top plates and tie everything in and get everything connected really tight, but the main framework is done. And next week we will jump down here into the garage and get it framed out. But basically we have a bedroom, a pantry, a second bath, bedroom, laundry room. This is all the living great room kind of area, kitchen, and a little eat-in kind of dining. And then I think I said the other day that this is Miss Susan's bedroom, bathroom, and walk-in closet. If y'all are wondering why I don't put on the zip panel on the exterior walls when we stand them, I'm just like the house wrap. I'm not a fan of it. I used to do it like that, but man, if your floor is not perfect, if you don't have any, I mean, it is hard. I mean, unless you want 1/2-inch gaps underneath your damn wall plates, hey, go ahead, wrap it. This does a lot better job, keeps everything tighter. It's a lot easier to work with. It's just a better product in the end, in my opinion. So that's what we do. We'll come back, chalk a line after we get all the liquid flash up. We'll put the zip panels up on the outside and just do it that way, because it's easier and better. Check in the cooler house. Check. 1 2 1 2. Well, I'm standing in the garage and we have it all well, not all framed up. We have all the walls standing right here. I've got a 2-ply LVL, 20 feet, 20-foot LVL, because we're gonna have an 18-foot garage door, 18 by 8. So I'm gonna go probably in the morning, maybe pick it up, and then we've got another LVL that we're gonna put install here in between the kitchen and the living room, because we've got a bank of cabinets that run through there. So we're gonna probably frame out about maybe a 26 28-inch wall, 28 inch wall here, and then we will head her across right here to separate. Miss Susan wants to give a little separation between the living room and the kitchen, kind of separate a little bit. So that's what we're going to do next. So in the morning we'll probably show up and we're starting to put all the top plates on. So we'll make sure everything is plumb, racked right where it needs to be. Check all that again before we start tying in all of our top plates. We'll get all our top plates on. We might have to do a little planing and shimming here, a little bit here and there, just because of the concrete. Slabs, man, I don't know. Just a pain in the A. It's not like framing on top of wood, man. There's a lot more stuff variables you've got to allow for, because I mean, unless your concrete is laser screeded, you're gonna have humps and dips, and so that's what we're kind of getting into right now. We'll try to get these front wall and the back wall pretty damn straight, pretty damn flat, and then we'll string across, and we'll have to do whatever we have to do to make these center walls in line and flat, because you can't just go balls to the wall and just start throwing stuff up. It will not be good, especially start putting trusses on it. No bueno. So it takes a little more time to do it right, but we're going to do it right. So all right, we're installing the top plate here at the Melton Farm Project, and it's kind of going to be a slow go. Like I said yesterday, we are having to plane a little bit. We're having to shim just a little bit to try to get that top plate nice and flat and straight like the string. Just because, I mean, you have variables in the field. You have block layers, you have concrete guys, so you know everybody does their stuff. It changes a little bit. So we're trying to adjust to that. Like I said, I've got some aluminum shims. We're shimming under the wall just a little bit, maybe an 1/8 inch, and then places we might have to plane a 1/16. So we're just doing that, and we'll get up on top of the wall and I'll show you what we got going on. All right, other way. Keep going. One more. Right there, Will. So that's the beauty of the turnbuckles. Just do that, easy peasy lemon squeezy. As you can see, we got a little bit of droop underneath the plate and the string. So Steve will grab some of these shims. These are actually James Hardy blind corner aluminum strapping. So we're going to use them as non-rustable, non-decomposing shims.
Hardy shim.
James Hardy shim.
James Hardy plate shim.
How much does it gotta go up? Right there. That's perfect. As you can see, we got it right on there. So we're just placing them right underneath every stud, just where it needs it. Just had a few, like I said, little hills and valleys that we're just trying to get rid of. That way when we set our trusses, we don't have any issues. And then probably the worst part's going to be out here in the middle, just because of the concrete guys not using a laser screed. So there's a little more adjustment out here in the middle. You can see it's probably about an 1/8, probably at the worst, somewhere in there. So nothing bad, but like I said, blocks and concrete do have some irregularities, so we're just omitting that. All right, so that is pretty. So we got all this. We had to plane a little bit right here. As you can see, that dude is straight. So now we have a good starting point. We'll go ahead and all these front to back, we will run a string from the front to the back and then get all those middle sections shimmed up or planed or whatever we needed to do. That way when we set the trusses, we won't have any issues. It'll be dead dick money. All right, so we've got the string from the front wall, back wall, and let's see, we got it. Had to do a little shimming. So we screwed it from the bottom just in case I had to plane it. That way I wouldn't be hitting screw heads. So that's why I put a few screws in the bottom. Then we'll come back and that's the beauty of it. Up a dog's ass all day long. Word of the day, Junior, is job. J-O-B, job. Get yourself a job. All right, we're on the interior wall, and here is a good example of a high spot in the concrete. You can see the string set up. So it's probably about 3/16 high. At a couple different spots. So I'll just get the planer and plane it down to it. I'm a professional, so don't try this home, kids.
Rapidly intensifying storms bring blizzard conditions and record cold this week.
Ooh, burr chilly. But there we have it. We have all the top plates on to the living quarter side. We still like the garage side, and I'll show you right here. You can see that I dropped, if you remember, if you see my video on the footing and the block, I dropped the foundation on the garage 1 inch. So we're gonna have to use, well, it is about 3/4, so we're gonna have to use a 3/4, probably some Advantech filler in between the top plate and the header plate. So we'll have to get that on, then finish the top plate. I've got the LVL header for that ordered. It'll be here tomorrow, and I have the 16-inch LVL also coming. So hopefully tomorrow we will get the LVLs done, get the garage plates done, and the LVL header ready to go in there, man. And then they're bringing some zip system wall sheathing, and we'll get our flashing, our liquid flash against our block, get that sealed, and start putting some sheathing on, man. We'll green it up, put some green board on this thing. Show you a little construction porn right here to see. Oh, man, that looks better. Spend a little extra time up front, man. Get all your walls straight, then when you set your trusses or anything you have, if you're doing regular ceiling joists, anything, it needs to be flat. So this is the best way that I found to do it on a slab. Like I said, on a wood crawl space, it's not as hard because your wood's going to be right before you even start. So you do have to adjust with a slab, just because, like I said, you've got the block layer, then you've got the concrete finisher. So there are variables that change. We're not in a perfect society. We're not in a utopia where everything is perfect from A to Z. So you have to figure out the ways to make it work. And this way works, so. This is a 2-ply 16-inch LVL that's going into the kitchen and the dining room area. And we're basically just going to put it together and nail the dog piss out of it on one side, flip it over, and we'll nail the other side as well. Gotta love the forklift. My boom pole is the cat's pecker. That thing is awesome. Set trusses and everything. Beautiful. Garage door headers installed. Oh, look, we got a puppy right there. Shoo, what you doing, guys? What's up, guys? Where y'all at? Got some puppy dogs. Blue heelers. And then I'll show you the beam. Of course, we had the main beam into the living room quarters, living quarters, kitchen, living. I'll get out in a minute. Living room, kitchen. But that's a 16-inch tall 2-ply, and then we just come back and framed out some short walls right there. I think Miss Susan's gonna have some, of course, this big kitchen cabinets. So you have your cabinets there, and she may have a little coffee bar or something right there. So we are ready to go for some zip flash, some zip liquid flash. We'll get that on if it shows up today. If Amazon gets there today, we'll start putting the zip liquid flash on in the morning. Let that dry, and then we'll start nailing on some zip panels, man. We got it. We are ready to go. Zip system. 7/16, 80 sheets per bundle. Garage door header, which is a 2-ply 12-inch LVL. That's installed. I didn't do a 3-ply since we're gonna have trusses, and it really doesn't need that 3rd ply. So we'll come back in later and we'll fur this out just to allow for the interior finishing of the garage. But we got all the top plate. Well, we like that little bit over the top of the garage door, but as you can see, like I was talking about, we have that 3/4 inch offset, and the guys, you had some old Advantech, and then just ripped it down and filled it in. Worked like a champ, man. All right, y'all, I'm in my shop. I'm doing an outro, or the end screen of the video. I don't know I don't know what you call it, but I forgot to make one when we actually finished up the framing at the site. So that's why I'm in here. I'm in my shop making it now. So if you're new to the channel and you're just now joining us here, for one, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And two, if you would like to get caught up to where we are now at the framing point on the Melton Farm Project, go back and check out the whole series. So stay tuned for the next part in the Melton Farm Project, where we will be installing the zip system sheathing, which is the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know why anybody else uses anything, because like I said, house wrap sucks balls. I don't like house wrap. Zip system is the way to go. Zip system on the roof and on the walls, man. It's hands down the best thing that has basically hit the construction industry in I don't know when. So once again, I'm Keith Dykes. This is the Melton Farm Project Framing Edition. Thanks for watching, and as I always say, got it, coach.